and gentlemen. Welcome to America House. My name is Christiane Hoflin. I'm the director of America House, and it's my pleasure to welcome you here for this panel discussion on U.S.-Ukraine relations. To start off the evening, I'd like to invite the U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine, Geoffrey Pyatt, to give some opening remarks. Please join me in welcoming him.
Thanks, Christiane. Can I stand here? Do I have to stand behind the podium? I'll do this. Good. Well, first of all, let me say how delighted I am that we're able to do this here this evening. We've got such a great turnout. This is, in my mind, sort of a model of what I hope America House can become, which is a forum to bring people together to have serious conversations about the future of Ukraine and the future of the U.S. partnership with Ukraine. We have a really special evening for you tonight. First of all, we have somebody who is one of the most famous Ukrainian Americans in all of the United States, which is Ambassador Paula Dobryansky. And I'm especially pleased because tonight is sort of a State Department reunion. Ambassador Dobryansky and I worked together first on India when she was our undersecretary at the State Department in the Bush administration. And I think most importantly for me, I will remember her as one of the first senior officials of the U.S. government to really think seriously about the challenge of climate change, long before it was fashionable and long before it was taken for granted. So, Paula, congratulations for that. But more importantly, as I discovered when I arrived here in Ukraine 3 years ago as ambassador, and we have a wall inside the embassy, as many of you know, with pictures of famous Ukrainian Americans. And pride of place there is occupied by Ambassador Dobryansky, which is a recognition of her long-standing involvement with and commitment to the U.S.-Ukraine relationship. And then my other State Department colleague who's here is Ambassador John Herbst, who truly needs no introduction. Aside from being one of my esteemed predecessors, he's also somebody who has been extremely active in the contemporary conversation in the United States about Ukraine, about Russia's aggression against Ukraine, about the policy response to that aggression. If you have not read it, I would encourage you to take a look at his testimony last week before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, which is as good and succinct a summary I have seen of the events of the past 2 years and the challenge that they present to fundamental American interests and U.S. values. And then Adrian is the sort of rounding out this trifecta, somebody else deeply involved in the conversation in the United States about U.S.-Ukraine relations and U.S. support for the Ukrainian people, a pillar of the Atlantic Council, which has been one of our strongest partners in the non-government sector in the United States in thinking about the appropriate U.S. response to developments here. This is a big week for U.S.-Ukraine relations coming up. On Wednesday, President Poroshenko travels to the United States for President Obama's final nuclear security summit. One of the issues that President Obama has been most passionate about throughout his 8 years in office has been the cause of nuclear security. Ukraine has been, through really 2 decades now, at the forefront of international efforts on questions of nuclear nonproliferation and nuclear security, has been a strong partner of the United States throughout that effort. And so President Poroshenko's travel is an opportunity for the President to reaffirm that commitment, but also to remind the world of how much Ukraine has done to make our planet safer through Ukraine's actions on these questions. President Poroshenko's visit will also, of course, be an opportunity for him to sit down with the American leadership and to update on the work that we have done together to help Ukraine prevail in what I have called the 2 wars, the war to defend your territory against Russian aggression and the war to advance reform, transformation of the Ukrainian state to live up to the aspirations of the Ukrainian people and the demands that were voiced so clearly on the Maidan. I thought the last thing that I could do to introduce tonight's conversation, and I'm glad that tonight's one of those very nice where I get to listen and I don't have to answer questions, is to talk a little bit about what I did this week. I spent Tuesday traveling with President Poroshenko to Kyiv, where we inaugurated a new $73 million nuclear source facility, which is designed to enhance Ukraine's capacity for the production of nuclear isotopes used in medicine and in research. I also visited Turboatom, where we have some important new commercial partnerships with Westinghouse and with another American nuclear company called Holtec. And I was especially encouraged to go to, again for my second time, to the police academy in Kyiv. And I was able to meet this time with some young people from Donetsk, Slavyansk, and Kramatorsk, who were training to be part of the new patrol police when it deploys in Donbass. And we all take the patrol police here in Kyiv for granted, but I think it really says a lot about how Ukraine is changing to see these young people from eastern Ukraine, from the former ATO zone, who are committed to building the same kind of modern democratic European institutions that are being established here in Kyiv or in Dnipropetrovsk or in Lviv. And then I spent yesterday in Odessa, which is always fun. I come from Southern California, so my favorite part about going to Odessa is just seeing the ocean and smelling the sea. But I was very encouraged by what I saw happening there with civil society. I was really impressed and pleased to be able to visit the new Government Services Center, which was established with support from USAID, demonstrating how you can build new institutions that are not corrupt, that demonstrate that government serves the people, as opposed to the other way around, as it was under President Yanukovych. And all of this sort of renews my faith in the principle that this year, 2016, is the year when Ukraine reaches the point of no turning back. That is to say, that reform will move fast enough, and the transformation of the Ukrainian state will move fast enough, that the kind of corrupt, authoritarian rule that President Yanukovych created is never going to come back. Where you get to is up to all of you, it's up to the people of Ukraine, but we want to be your partners in that effort. So I hope that this conversation, which Yevhen is going to lead tonight, will help us as Americans to hear a little bit from you about what your expectations are and what you're looking for, and for you to hear from three authoritative observers of the debate in the United States what people in Washington and across the U.S. are asking in what is a politically very complicated year in the United States as well. So again, Christian, it's always great to be here, and thank you everybody for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you for being here and for starting off our evening. So now I'd like to introduce the moderator for tonight's event. Yevhen Hlibovitsky is a member of the Nestor Group, which is working to develop a strategic vision for Ukraine. He's also been very involved in efforts to prevent censorship in Ukraine. He's a co-founder of Channel 5 and also Hromadski TV. So please join me in welcoming Yevhen Hlibovitsky.
Thank you very much.